In this video, we find out how much of a reference detail there is in this series, why Plungerman refused to help, what you 100% didn't notice at this point that was actually written here, how is Dafuq connected by scientists, what is the purpose of this book, and in the end, did the cameraman in red survive? On this and other questions, you will learn the answer to this video, so be sure to watch to the end to not miss the interesting moments, and also take tea and cookies with you. Well, and the like do not forget. Well, people, hello. Early this morning at 7 o'clock came out two-part 70 series. I will say that in this episode is very little action, but so much detail that you can not even imagine. Well, and we traditionally disassembly will begin with the description. Let's see what this time dafuqboom left in the description. Under his video, it says that the squad is approaching the scientist. Very interesting. Maybe in part 3 we will see Skibidi the scientist. Well, now let's analyze the series itself. Part 2 of 70 series starts from the end of Part 1 of 70 series. As you remember, Part 1 ended at this point when someone tried to get to her. Well, who was it? Cameraman. I thought so at first. No, this is just a trick. At this point, you can hear a reference to a game. The reference is in this sound. The fact that this sound is from the game Counter-Strike. And by the way, this game is from Valve. And from here, it becomes clear why dafuqboom added this sound. Also, it should be said that not one case when dafuqboom Skibidi Toilet adds a reference to Counter-Strike. In the 18th episode, we noticed Skibidi Toilet, which is very similar to the character from the game, Counter-Strike. Then in front of the toilet destroyed cameraman. The other agents are trying to paralyze it, and they succeeded. But at the last moment, Skibidi Toilet activated all 4. If not for the heroic act of this cameraman, all the agents would have just exploded. Press F this cameraman, and now we have only 4 agents including Plungerman. Who's the face of the action? He's picking up his partner's weapon. Next, we notice that the elevator is about to fall, so we need to leave this place immediately. Because the speaker man has a jetpack, he has already managed to move 2 agents. One more detail. We are now on the 4th floor. Plungerman is climbing the wall and himself gets to the top. If he did not have these spikes, he would not have been able to do it. The elevator does fall. The speaker man reaches out to Plungerman, but he refuses. The thing is that in the 69th episode, Skibiders chase the agents, all manage to run to safety. But except for 2 cameramen, and to save everyone, the speaker man had to close the doors. And then the relationship between Plungerman and the speaker man turned 180 degrees. The speaker man steps back, the Plungerman gets up, the cameraman in red looks for a safe exit, and he found one. Apparently they need to go that way, and since it's dark, the Skibidi Toilets shouldn't see them. Skibidi Toilets know there are agents on the base, so they sent these guards to find them. And as it turns out, the cameramen have another camera mode, and it's night vision, which is a very useful feature at the moment, because with night vision, the agents can get to their destination without obstacles. Yes, they've been spotted, but that's not the worst of it. Look here, this is a gaff. After being spotted, the agents go to the test lab. You can read it here. And as we see, the cameraman in red at random opens all sorts of doors. He has to do it, because at the moment they have one goal, to hide from Skibidi Toilets, and it turns out they did not want to go into this room. This is where we see a lot of interesting details. Let's take it all apart right now. On the left side of the window we notice a knife, and on the right side we notice a spear, and on top we notice some kind of sword. If you know what series it is from, be sure to write in the comments. Also, that legendary tentacles Skibidi scientist, if I'm not mistaken, these tentacles for the first time we noticed in 67 series, as well as here we noticed the gun. Camera spider was seen in 13 series, but this detail I think not everyone will notice, thanks to my viewer. The thing is that in the center at the very top you can notice the legendary hand cameraman Titan. It turns out that when they threw 25,000 tons of TNT on cameraman and then destroyed the right hand of Titan, they stole it and took it as a trophy. Well, and then we notice a column of speakermen, or maybe it's just a column. They just hang out here. Of course, the details do not end there, but on the contrary, if you go to the table, you can notice a small sheet. There's a big Skibidi inscription and some text like that. I think it's some kind of contract between a Skibidi scientist and an astrotuplet, and for some reason I think it's seals. Look at this. On the right and on the left, probably the contract was made by a Skibidi scientist, because it says the lyrics of their song. But that's not all. In the distance, we notice a small poster with something written on it. Let's read it. It says that Alpha Heal's lab has a new administrator. The underground lab sponsored by the government has a new administrator. The details of the reasons for what happened remain secret. Very interesting, so we are in an underground Alpha Heals lab. And by the way, one more detail. Look at the year of the events. This new administrator appeared in 1979. And by the way, about the administrator, I think it is clear to everyone that this administrator is a secret agent dafuqboom. Turns out he cooperated with scientists for many years after this poster. One theory that comes to mind is that if scientists randomly created Skibidi virus, after all the scientists were infected, and only dafuqboom survived, and he is somehow trying to fix it all. What do you think? Write in the comments. And yes, that's not all. We also notice one book here, with the TV logo. It's probably a book with instructions on how to make a TV with powers. Turns out there's been a Skibidi scout here all along. Yes, the Skibidi Toilet from episode 42, which was the first time he appeared in episode 42. Unfortunately, in this episode, he managed to destroy our cameraman. Look how he's improved. He's got tentacles and a TV. He's turned on the red mode of the TV. And on the cameraman screen, there's writing. You have to turn it over to read it. As we can see, it says, "And yourself," which is nothing new. We've always known that the color red can destroy any character. All the cameramen are hypnotized, but not the speaker man because he has no lens. He saves the plungerman, who in turn puts on a protective lens. And as plungerman rises to his feet, we notice that another cameraman has been destroyed. But if you slow down, it won't be long before the speaker man is headless. And the only way to defeat is to destroy the TV. Plungerman then shoots this toilet in the eyes, and the speaker man turns on some quiet music. But also in the end, Plungerman kills this Skibidi Toilet. Guys, there's another very small detail. You can see it on the speaker man's head. The thing is, there's a small crack on his speaker. Fortunately, the cameraman in red is critically wounded. He's not moving. Plungerman takes his hacking device. You can see the cameraman's critical uranium here. The tablet that was telling the agents where to go is also critically wounded along with the cameraman. Next, we see that the speaker man in black breaks the showcase and takes his spear. But Plungerman also does not stay, takes his headphones, and not only headphones, also takes a jetpack. A total of 2 agents remain, but still it is possible cameraman in red will still return, as his head is still in place. And in general, they're robots. Even Plungerman can be repaired if he explodes into several pieces. Here he uses his device and opens the gate. Then Plungerman and Spearman fly away in an unknown direction. Although you can find out where they flew away if you read what is written here. But here it is very bad to see what is written there, and that's where this series ends. And since in the description of this series we read that the agents are getting closer and closer to the scientist, we can conclude that in part 3 we will probably see Skibidi Scientist, and who does not know in my game Skibidi Toilet. At the end of this week will be released a super update. No longer have to answer the question, where are the toilets? Because they will be everywhere. You will be bored with them. If anything, the game is called Toilet Only Up, but I advise you to click on the bell to not miss new videos. I will meet you in other videos. Goodbye, everyone.